Hello, today I will be restoring this old Warpath, Hot Wheels Redline. Can't see the Redlines very much on the wheels anymore though. Pretty beat up. Now I already did this is missing by the way, this plastic piece. Now I already did the first step and I drilled the rivet out of the base. The base can be removed from the vehicle if I can do it with one hand. I can't really do it with one hand, but I'm doing it anyway. So yeah, I can move the base from the chassis, the chassis from the top, and the interior and windshield. Now the next step, now in case you don't know how to do this, basically you just drill it out with a Dremel or a drill with a good sized bit to take out the rivet. You can center punch the rivet before you do that. This post is actually very small. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to retap it. That's my next step. First I'm going to look over the pieces. That's very dirty. That's covered in grime. And then as well as the base is full of dirt and interior is also full of dirt. I put it in front of the light. But anyway, next step is to drill out the rivet. I actually did attempt to tap the post and it did a little bit work. Like the screw is in there, but the screw's way too long. So what I'm going to probably try and do is to shorten the screw a little bit. And I'm going to take the stone blade of my Dremel and I'll try and shorten the screw a little bit and hopefully then it would go together. So I did manage to shorten one of these screws. Now what I had to do was I had to use the snips on them. Then I took a Dremel with a stone wheel and cleaned up the end of it. And it's short enough and it does actually fit in here. At first I thought it wasn't going to fit, but I pushed hard on it and it started going into the shreds and I'm like, yes. That was a lot of work. Probably took about half an hour to get that to actually get short enough to actually fit in the car. But to hold it I had to use these locking pliers and I put some masking tape around the end so it wouldn't come shooting out. I actually lost another screw. I was trying to hold it with some needle nose and it shot across the room and I never found it. But finally I got a screw that's short enough and now I can move on to more stuff like painting the body. And I just dropped the screw. That was what you heard. I have to go find that now. Well, I actually never managed to find that screw. So there goes an entire half an hour of my time. Well, I was able to, since I did it already, I was able to build this new one in about 5 minutes. So I have a new screw and it fits perfectly. And I did the same way I did the other one and it worked just fine. But now I will move on to paint stripping this and then I'll move on to the parts inside. You can see the interior plastic is completely filled with dirt. So to get this looking like new, I'm going to try to clean it off with some soapy water. Also, I may try to build another one of these plastic tabs to go where the one is broken off there. I just recently got an electro polishing system which is done with some charged acid and stainless steel that goes into the acid connected to a battery charger, and I'll leave a link below to this process, but I just got it and I don't think I did it quite right because it should end up making it kind of shiny, but as you can see the oxidation has almost all been removed from this base and it looks a lot better. I'm not going to try to make it all crazy shiny because it wouldn't have been crazy shiny from the factory. I think this is the correct amount that it should be shined up, so got that base clean and now I need to move on to paint stripping the body so I can prepare it to get repainted. So this is what the car looks like after the paint has been removed everywhere except for this little spot here that wouldn't come off, even though I tried to get all the stuff out of the edges, but there still is a little bit more in some of the edges, like in here, if you can see that. And the roof is a little scratched and there's some other pits around the body, so I'm going to try to work on those and try to get them all to sand out. So I just got to get the rest of the paint off and sand out the imperfections. So after a lot of sanding with a lot of different grits of sandpaper, some 200, 150, 400, and some 600, and then 2 different types of steel wool, this is what I was able to achieve. The roof had some really deep scratches, but now they're all gone except for a little pit that I'm hoping can be sanded out with the primer. And there's also some problems with the panel lines here, but I really can't solve that because sanding that would remove the panel lines altogether. And the next step now is to put the primer on and see how it looks after that. So this is what the car looks like after the primer has been applied. As you can see, all the oxidation and any imperfections that are left have been completely covered up, and any imperfections that remain can kind of be seen through it, and there's really not that many problems, just some slight specks that can be sanded off. And also all the details are very visible with the primer, and you can see all the panel lines are accentuated, and it's quite a nice casting. Those casting errors actually don't look that terrible with the primer on, and I can work on them a little bit with some sandpaper. But the next step will be to paint this, and I'm going to paint it back to the original white. I ended up putting a couple more coats of primer on this car because I sanded it down and must have gotten dropped or something and the primer chipped, so I was able to sand the primer and put a new coat of primer on, so now it's actually ready to get painted, so hopefully it doesn't get damaged before I get to paint it again. This is what the car looks like after the paint's been applied. It didn't come out terrible, but it didn't come out perfect because the sides, I kind of didn't get the paint quite right on this side, so it has a little bit of an orange peely look to it. But other than that, it's really not too bad. I did actually discover what I was finally doing wrong with my airbrush. My airbrush didn't come with very precise directions, so I wasn't 100% sure how to clean it and adjust or anything like that. I finally found out that a certain part came off, and I didn't know it, and when I took it off, it had all dust that was caught in there, so the paint was all going through dust to get blown out. And that's probably also why, if you look at the roof carefully, I don't know if you can see it on here, but there is some dust that's been attached to the roof while I was painting. And there's not much that can be done about that, but I'm hoping that when I put the decals on this car, that'll hopefully hide all that dust problems, because the decals go on the hood, the roof, and in the back. So hopefully that'll hide all the imperfections with the dust. Hopefully the sides look good too, because decals don't go on there, but I think overall it looks pretty good, so let's see what it looks like when I get the decals in. I just ordered them yesterday, so they'll hopefully be here soon. As you can see, my decals have now arrived in the mail, and I'm going to, for the first time ever, try to put water slide decals onto a model. I'm a bit worried about this because I've never tried it before, and I know that these decals look very difficult to put on because they're very thin and very long, and they go over very thin parts of the casting. I'm going to cut them out with an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to be using some cotton buds or Q-tips to position them. I'll probably use the tip of this, not the pointy tip, but the rounded tip with a pin, maybe a little bit, to get them off the backing sheet. And also I have a pair of tweezers that have flat edges on them, so hopefully that won't tear anything. I have some extra paper towels, so hopefully this all goes well and I can get the water slide decals onto the body of the car right here, and it'll hopefully come out all good. I know I said I was content with the base, but I changed my mind and I went over it with the brass wheel and my Dremel. But as you can see, the tires on here, they're not looking too good. The red line's been kind of worn off them, probably because of the sun and wear, and the chrome hubs are gone. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, but I think I don't have any tires replaced, so I'm going to try to paint them, I think. I've never seen someone paint tires, but I want to give it a try. Hopefully I don't fail, but after all the work I've done on this model, I think it would look really bad if I didn't do anything with the tires. So I'm going to try to paint these tires and make them look like new once again. Wish me luck. So I just basically finished all the work that's left on this car. I worked on the windshield a little more, even though I worked on it before. I wasn't content with the shine. As you can see, there's a crack in it, but there's not much that can be done for that. I tried to get a lot of the deeper pitches out. As you can see, there's still some very slight ones, but it's quite shiny. You're not going to notice it up close, and I think it looks pretty good. And next, I fixed this piece here. As you can see, that one of these were broken off previously, and now they're both here because I cut out a piece of plastic with an X-Acto knife and glued it into place. It's a little bit larger than the other one, but you really don't notice from a distance. If you look real close like you are right now, you'll probably notice it. But for the scale of this model, you're probably not going to really notice it that much. And next I will show you I just put my finger in the wet paint. Didn't come out bad. Okay, good. These are the tires I painted. That actually came out pretty good, I have to say. I think I'm impressed with myself. I thought it was gonna look terrible, but I hand painted these tires with some thin brushes. This tire that I'm pointing to with my thumb came out the worst because it had been worn the worst. So the ridges in it where like the red line goes and the silver paint goes, it was all kind of worn off. So this one didn't come out as good. But the other ones, I mean, look at those back ones. They came out pretty nice looking. So I'm pretty impressed with myself for that. I thought I was gonna screw that up and have to get new tires, but I didn't. And I've never seen a YouTuber before paint their tires over. They usually just steal them off another car. I think that's a good idea to paint the tires though, because it kind of doesn't take away from other vehicles that you have, and it's more of a restoration that you're not getting parts from other places, even though I do buy windshields occasionally for broken ones. But now the step that's next is to put the car back together. So hopefully that all goes well, and it's currently drying from the clear coat that I put on it. I'll show you that in a minute. I forgot to record the video for this, but the decals were placed onto the body and they came out pretty well, I think. And I also shot a spray can of clear coat over the body, which gives it quite a nice shine. Please forgive me for the decals not being perfect, because this is my first time ever applying decals, so I'm not very good at it yet. It's a talent I have yet to perfect. But I usually don't, I haven't lately, I mean, shown you me putting things together or taking things apart or anything like that. I just show you what it looks like after. So I'm going to show you me putting this car back together. So I'm going to start by putting the windshield into place, and then I'm going to take the interior, put that into place. I have to get that to go up through here carefully. Just going to take a little carefulness. There we go. That's in place, and then I will take the base and slide this through carefully. Oops, so the interior fell out. I'll just slide this into place, clicked right in. I'll then take the screw. It's hard to do this with gloves. I didn't want to get any oil on the for my hands, I mean on the clear coat. It's not fully cured yet. Then I will just tighten it with my little Allen wrench that I have here. Just keep turning it until it's tightened all the way. It's not quite hitting the threads that I think it's in. Nope, it's not in. I had this in before, so I know it goes. There we go. Now it's in the threads. My bad. Okay, and there we go. It's been completed. I have finished the restoration. And I still do have to say, that was a pretty good job on the tires, because they actually look original somewhat. But yeah, so I'll show you some pictures of what it looked before and after. Also, for you guys who have a good eye, I accidentally knocked that back off again and had to glue it back on. By the way, I'm using this tester's glue that came in a tester set that I have, in case you're wondering. So yeah, now it's all back together for sure. As you can see, this car has come quite a long way. Originally, it looked like this, which is really grimy, full of dirt, and missing the majority of its paint. But now, it's been redone, and it looks like this. I hope you enjoyed watching, and you'll leave a like and subscribe. Also, I will leave some links to similar things in the description, and hope to see you in the next video.